I can't help but think that when we focus on the other world, we are involuntarily bringing in a very different attitude today than what we might have had some time ago. I've been thinking about the idea of social media being almost, this may sound strange to say to some of you, but being almost a replacement for the other world. Now, I've thought a lot about this. I haven't just come up with this, just suddenly. I take people through spirit travelling exercises to the other world so that they can reach a state in their life where they can transform, they can address issues that might be troubling them, they can carry out all sorts of inner tasks, if you like, and in their everyday life that can help them to make life work. But the more I have focused on this, the more I realise how much we are influenced by social media. Things like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all those things where we feel as if we can reach a lot of people and be noticed. Basically, that's what it's about. But it's the virtual element of social media that has got me thinking. When we think about everyday life, the everyday physical material life, it's there, it's sort of in your face, you can reach out and touch it. There are things that are around you, you can reach out and touch, you connect with people, you connect with situations, and there are all kinds of scenarios and agendas you have to fulfill, which are, I suppose, tangible to you and to everyone else. But when we get to the world of social media, it's a very virtual world. It's a world that, well, it only exists in the phone, in the iPad, in the computer, or whatever device you're using. You go in there or on there and have conversations with people, and some of those people might not even be real in the sense that they only exist in your piece of technology. I remember saying this to somebody I met once. I pointed to my computer. I said, it's nice to meet you in the flesh because you're normally tucked away in there, in the computer. That's where you exist. That's all you are. And an interesting conversation followed this that I was more or less the same for this other person. But that's a parallel, I think, with the other world, and I'll explain why. The other world is seemingly unreal. It only exists for the time you're with it. If you go on a spirit travelling exercise and I tell you to find various things, certain things that are going to affect your life and help you make changes, then it's that moment when you meet those things that you are, to all extents and purposes, in the other world. Now, when you come out of the other world, you could say to somebody, I went to the other world and I met this spirit, I met this person, I met this situation, and it will be a little bit abstract, a little bit psychedelic, if you like. And if you're telling this to another person, unless they are accustomed to spirit travelling exercises, they would probably think, well, that doesn't actually exist, or, well, that's in your mind, or, well, that is something that is sort of out of it. It's not in everyday life. It's not the real stuff. Now, when you compare this with your interaction with social media, there was a time, a little while ago, when a great many of us preferred not to engage with social media. It started off as something for young people, students, so they could connect with each other. And then suddenly it took over. And the more I think about it, I think we have a need to have an other world, an other existence. When we go on Facebook or Twitter, or when we're scrolling through social media networks, we sort of escape from this world. We are able to put our energy into something else for a while. And for some of us, that feels good. For others, me being one of them, it doesn't always feel that good, because it puts you in a very difficult situation. Now, this is where it's very different from experiences in the other world that you can't see and can't always readily engage with. It forces you to put yourself in a situation where you have to be liked. Click like. I like what you said. I like your post. I like your picture, etc., etc. You know the score, because this video itself is probably on Facebook as I'm speaking here. The other world doesn't depend on that. But my point is that if we are using social media generally in life as an alternative for visiting the other world, which most of us would have done a long time ago, most of us would have known what the other world that's not always here, that's in the dream world, that's, we would have known what that, excuse me, known what that was like. So there are conditions with this social media other world that we engage with. We have to be liked. If we're not liked, then lots of research has been done about this. We can feel depressed, we can feel low, and one big problem with it is that because of this, it becomes the emphasis. It takes the emphasis on what we are trying to achieve. Oh, I must go on social network today. I haven't been on yet. I haven't been on today. I must go and see what's going on, and I must make a comment or two about this. I must see what so-and-so's doing. I must see what Patrick Jesperlee's doing. We have a tendency to want to replace the physical material world with that, mainly because we are more in control of it. But at the same time, it tips over into something else when we find that we have to be recognised, we have to be listened to, we have to be liked. So although it's become a replacement for the other world in many ways, it's not doing the job. It's in fact taking us away from ourselves. The other world doesn't take you away from yourself. The other world, if it's looked at constructively, and I don't mean just journeying blindly to another world where anything goes, you've got to have somebody guiding it, you've got to have somebody who understands the dangers of the other world. And that itself is a parallel with social media. There are dangers there. You can't let your children go on because there are dangers with social media, etc., etc. And there's dangers for you because you can get trolled, you can get people criticising you, you can get all sorts of insults and criticism, whatever. But do you see my point? A long time ago, we had the other world and we had the physical world, and both were integral to each other. These days, we don't have the other world. We have the odd dream, we have the odd experience, but we don't know how to put it in context with this physical material world because it's so different from the way it was. We live much closer to nature, which is closer to the other world. We live much closer to transforming ourselves, which is closer to the other world. We live much closer to natural ways of relating to each other with values everything. The other world and the physical material world were one. But if we try to make the world of social media one, we've got a problem. It creates confusion, it creates lack of self-worth, people get depressed. It also, I think it creates narcissism as well. We are a very narcissistic society because of social technology, the way we handle it, etc., and the way we give ourselves to it. So this is just my thinking at the moment. It's a little bit of a ramble, but I think it's true. I think it's a good point to consider. If you don't like social media and you don't like keep going on there because of all the mundane stuff you're likely to encounter, and because of what it forces you to do, being liked and being this and being that, it's not real. Face to face is much better if possible. But if you don't like it, then that's a good thing, I think, in many ways. If you don't like it, just use it for your needs. I use it because with today's society, it's the only way I can get through to people. It's the only way people are going to see me, because we all live so far apart. I mean, the good thing about it is that it brings people closer together, but we just got to get it in perspective, I suppose. There are good things and bad things about it. But the way it replaces the other world, I think, is a valuable point. It's trying to give us something we don't have. But at the same time, it's conditioning us to do all sorts of things and to be alone. That's how I feel about that as well. So yeah, another bit of food for thought. Maybe some more thought on this will be useful. So have a think, and as always, for now, thank you for listening.